Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel here, back with a romantic murder. And we are probably on our last part for the demo. Again, we are on James's route. James is the Viscount, one of the grandsons to Mr. Graves, who is the deceased. And so on this kind of last day, um, that we're supposed to be here at the manor, we are waking up to the sound of screams. Who knows what's happening? I don't know. So let's find out, shall we? If I can get my mouse to work. No. Does it not want to? There you go. Oh, okay. Thea is standing at the top of the stairs, her mouth open in a scream that's beginning to trail off into a whimper. There's a fallen cup on the floor by her feet, coffee spilling out from inside and painting the edge of the rug black. I can see something lying crumpled at the bottom of the stairs, a mass of black and red. Oh, is it Crispian? No, it's the maid. Sophie, no, not Sophie. Oh no, that's terrible. Sorry, I said Crispian only because spoilers, I guess, but if you're watching this in order, on Blake's route, Crispian's the one who dies, so don't know exactly what's happening there. For a second, I don't understand what I'm seeing. I rush halfway down the stairs, my instinct to help. But there's nothing I can do that will help her now. Sophie lies sprawled at the bottom of the stairs, her hand outstretched as if she tried to break her fall. Her eyes are half closed. They will never fully open again. I've seen my share of dead bodies when I was on the force, but this... I remembered Sophie as she'd been the night before, smiling at me. She promised we would speak the next day. She promised me we would speak the next day. Is she okay? No, she's not. For the love of God, some of us are still trying to sleep. Ew, Crispian, you're not very sensitive. Could the two of you keep it? Oh my God, what the hell? Ugh. Via, did you... What? Honey, no! He backs a little bit away from her, putting some distance between himself and the top of the stairs. That's just telling of what you did, sir. You're being terrible. I always knew you had a temper, baby. I thought it was sweet even. But this? How can you even think that? I hear doors opening down the hallway. What's going on out here? Sis, everything okay? I edge carefully down the stairs, avoiding the blood. Reaching the floor, I bend and press my fingers against Sophie's neck. Enough, you two. It looks to me that it's been at least a couple of hours since this happened. She's cold. Oh. Oh? That's all you have to say? Oh? Look, under the circumstances, you certainly can't blame me. Oh, you can just watch me, honey. Chantel, I hate to leave you alone with this, but I can't look at this thing for one more minute. She storms back in the direction of her room, leaving it unsure as to whether she means Sophie's body or Crispian. Hope we're talking about Crispian, to be honest. After a moment of indecision, Crispian follows her. What happened here? James? What on earth is going on? Stay in your room, Celia. There's been an accident. Are you all right? Yes, I'm fine. All right, James. Oh my God. Has anyone called for a doctor? Quite the gathering. What's the Oh, I see. Mr. Thompson is still asleep, but I believe Mr. Haverley was once Dr. Haverley. Shall I fetch him? Yes, please do. I'll stay here. It's too late for any doctor to help her, but it's best to cover the formalities in any case. You want to stay with the body? No, I won't hear of it. You go back to your room with the rest. I'll watch over the maid. Her name was Sophie, and I don't think so. I tell him that. When I was with the police, there was no time for niceties such as shuffling the women off to a separate room. I see no reason to start now. I didn't. I mean, quit while you're behind, friend. I'm gonna check on my sister. After Adrian leaves, I'm stuck standing with James in an awkward silence. That is, until he breaks it. I really didn't mean it that way, you know. Didn't you? Well, no matter. I turn away from him and look out the window where the snow is still falling. The most important thing is to make sure that things are done properly now. Oh, of course. My God, I didn't believe it when I heard, but it's true. Mr. Haverly peers over the edge of the railing and draws back, shaking his head. What a calamity. And so soon after father-in-law's passing. She was such a lovely girl. Yes, we hope that, well, Uncle George, you are a doctor. What? No good doctoring her now, man. She's in the Lord's hands now. No, what we need now is Stevens. He'll get this tidied up. Oh yes, and of course, someone will have to take the body to town. But Stevens will sort that all out, never you mind. Nobody should touch the body until the police have been called. The police? Surely not, my girl. It's an accident, after all. Well, I suppose that, to be on the safe side, we... James, not you too. There's no need to be hysterical about this. Absolutely we need to get the police involved. It's not being hysterical. My eyes narrow. I was hired to investigate the suspicious death of your father-in-law, correct? Upon his request. What? Well, yes, that is true, James. It was on a whim of your grandfather. But you said, in any case, that doesn't mean. And now, only a day or so later, there's another death. And one you seem much too keen to tidy up, if I may say so. Come now, the girl obviously just took a fall. What? Nothing suspicious about it. So no reason to make a fuss. No. Exactly. No need to make a mountain out of a molehill, just as you say, dear. No. The phones are dead. Oh, I say, are you sure, dear girl? She gives him a scathing look. There's no dial tone. Well, that's odd. I agree. Hold your horses, my girls. There's no need to fly off the handle. It's most likely due to the storm. I'll go check. Probably just needs to be jiggled a few times. Is that what you're worried about? Did Uncle just refer to me as one of the girls? Welcome to the club. Your membership gift is Mr. Haverly dismissing everything you say as hysteria if he doesn't agree with you. And no, you can't return it. I'm honored. But our smiles swiftly drop. First poor Sophie, and now the phones are dead. Am I the only one who finds this a bit ominous? I would say suspicious, rather. But it could still be an accident, right? The storm does look pretty bad out there. I'm not looking forward to driving home in it, though I'll be glad to get Celia well away from this. Understandable. I'd really prefer it if no one left, but I don't exactly have the authority to make them stay. Well, as long as the body is protected, the police can handle any necessary follow-up, and I can investigate whilst I'm here. Oh dear. I see Mr. Haverly was correct. Stevens, don't sneak up on us, man. Not in these circumstances. Apologies, Mr. James. Mr. Haverly did tell you to leave the body untouched, didn't he? He merely advised me to assist you, miss. Do you have any instructions? Well, that's a pleasant surprise. Yes, Please, could you arrange for one of the staff to drive into town and contact the police? In the meantime, we need to block off the top of the staircase and keep people from walking through here. What? We can hardly drop people upstairs like cats stuck in a tree. I level him with an unimpressed look. Stevens, in a house this size, would I be correct in assuming that there's a set of back stairs for staff use? Of course, miss. But it's only accessible through the servants' quarters. A tad unseemly. Surely every member of the household would prefer that than to be stepping directly over a corpse. And if any don't, they would instantly become my prime suspect. Oh, well, I suppose if you put it like that. Yes, quite. I'll organize this immediately and inform the other members of the party. Thank you, Stevens. A voice calls from the rooms down the hall. James, what kind of accident is it? Are you still there? I'm a little frightened. Oh, yes, of course. Just a minute. He turns back to me. You seem to have everything under control here, but it doesn't feel right leaving you alone. Are you sure you'll be all right? I'll be fine, Muffin. Don't worry about me. Just take care of your sister. Yes, I will. I don't know how she'll handle this. She was already so upset by Grandfather's death. So look after her. I'll be fine, Muffin. Oh. You know, it's starting to grow on me. Look at that cute little smile! Okay, I know it's not appropriate, but look at that. Stop. Okay, stop flirting, guys. Even though I know I chose that choice. Anyways. Finally left alone, I grimly turned to look down at the body. I've been talking a good game about this death being suspicious, but so far it's all widely circumstantial. As soon as people stop reacting and start thinking clearly, they're going to realize exactly that. Before it comes to that, I need to find some proof that this wasn't accidental. For Sophie's sake, I hope such a thing exists. Do I have to... Oh, I have to click. Let's look at this. There's a teapot lying on the floor, the outside already cold to the touch. Okay. I don't want to pick it up, but on bending down, I can see there's nothing inside of it. Okay, so you were going down the stairs to fill the water? Okay. Your apron, maybe? Her body is close to room temperature. That means this likely happened early in the night, though it's hard to judge with any certainty. Her body is face up and is positioned towards the stairs as if her legs had given out from underneath her mid-step. Clothes. Oh, sorry, that's your hair. Sophie's hair is down, spreading across the floor. I only ever saw her her hair up in a tight bun. Down, it's surprising how long it is. But why would she have her hair down if she was working? That's suspicious, I think. Obviously well cared for, too, which is not always easy for a woman in service. Okay. Her shoes, maybe? Okay, that's insane. What about your shoes? There's nothing on her shoes. They're cheap, but well cared for, and with soles that look like they would provide sufficient traction, so why would she just randomly fall down the stairs? If there's one thing that's unusual about them, it's that they have a bit more of a heel than seems purely utilitarian. I like this aspect that you get to do, like, the investigation by clicking. Hands? There's a wound on the back of her head, barely visible through thick, black strands. It has a slightly rounded shape, not too deep. The hair around it is thickly matted with blood, and there's a pool of blood underneath that side of her head. A stray rivulet of blood runs across her face, painting her lips red. Okay. I don't... Her face? Okay. Okay, nothing. Nothing. I don't think there's anything else unless... One of the steps has blood along the rim. It's already dried, a grisly testament to what happened here. That, and then there's a small puddle of water near the side of the stairs. It's too far from the kettle to have been produced after the fall. But it's possible that it spilled when Sophie was on the stairs and just happened to arc over the railing. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to look at. Okay. Oh. I go to the top of the stairs. Stepping gingerly around Sophie's body, I move up the stairs. Looking at the railings, it doesn't look like any of them have been disturbed. But then again, these are solid wood. The most I could expect to find is fingernail marks. But luckily, or unluckily, I find nothing of the sort. There doesn't seem to be anything unusual in the guest wing. Well, aside from the coffee cup still left on the floor from this morning. Better make a note of Fia having discovered the body as well. Okay. Bottom. Moving away from the body, I search the rest of the grand room. Aside from the area just around Sophie's body, there doesn't seem to be anything here at all. As a detective, I'm not sure whether to praise their housekeeping or curse their thoroughness. I don't think I've ever searched a murder scene where there wasn't so much as a stray matchstick shoved into the corner. Okay. Is there still... Oh, connection lost to my... That's fine. Okay, that's just main stairs, but... I don't think there's anything else. Anything. Okay, that's not like her dress. It's like anything on your apron? I think I've encumbered all I can from the body for now. Miss. As a voice comes from behind me, I jump. Please, stop doing that. I'm afraid it's rather a habit, miss. Master Henry did so enjoy trying to catch me. The more I learned about my deceased client, the more I wish I'd gotten a chance to ask him some questions. It's fine, Stevens. I've asked the valet to drive to town, miss. It's normally a half-hour drive, but I imagine it will take substantially longer with this weather. Yes, I suppose you're right. He's preparing now, but I expect him to leave shortly. In the meantime, Mr. Haverly has asked that you join the family in the dining room for breakfast. So it's Nick who's going, the valet. I haven't seen him yet. I don't want to leave Sophie's body alone. Could I ask you a few questions about Sophie first? Perhaps later, miss. Mr. Haverly was quite insistent. I hesitate, and Stephen's eyes follow my gaze back to Sophie's body. I will stay and watch over her if you prefer, miss. I can assure you that I will not let anyone disarrange things until your return. Not even if your master orders it. He smiles. My mistress would never do so. That's right, Stevens. That's right. Come to think of it, that's right. He's never called Mr. Haverly by anything but his name. All right, Stevens. I'll leave it to you then. As I turn away and head to the dining room, I allow myself to acknowledge a slight ulterior motive. After all, I do have a very good memory for these things, which is what had helped me rise rapidly through the ranks of the force. If he does anything other than watch over the body, I'll know, and that would be useful information in itself. As the butler said, it's only the family in the room, but it doesn't seem to be doing much for maintaining familial harmony. I walked into yet another argument. It was the natural assumption to make. I hate you, Crispian, honestly. No. Yes, quite right. The girl has locked herself in her room, son. That's beyond the pale, don't you think? All right, why don't we all try to calm down? Stay out of this, James. Don't talk to him like that. In fact, why don't you stop talking entirely? You have done enough harm. You tell him, Celia. The son laughs. It's a short, mean sound like the bark of a dog. That's rich coming from you, cuz. Crispian! I notice that, as if on reflex, James has taken a step to the side, almost hiding his sister behind him. You should consider yourself lucky, Crispian, if your parents weren't here. Crispian rolls his eyes, but I spot him taking a step back. Well, I see no one else is interested in listening to me. Typical. With that, he storms out of the room for what it is perhaps the third time since I arrived. James, Celia, I do apologize.
No need, Mr. Haverly. It is not your fault.
I clear my throat, and immediately all eyes are on me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Stevens said you were looking for me. Yes, yes, of course. Do come in. Breakfast is on the sideboard. I'm not all that hungry, thank you.
I feel precisely the same way.
Perfectly understandable, girls. Just try to keep your strength up, eh? I'm glad you're here. I wanted to ask you. That is, I wanted to tell you.
What did you find out about our maid?
Sophie. Well, yes, of course, Sophie. We only have the one dead maid, you know. It's not as if the staff are popping off like firecrackers, what? There's a moment of awkward silence. Awkward for the sensible people in the room, in any case. Which leaves Mr. Haverly decidedly out. Yes, I have completed my investigation. Oh ho! Excellent, my girl, simply excellent. Top form to the dot, the I's and the cross, the T's. Even when it's an accident, excellent.
Was it an accident?
Okay, let's see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. It's very suspicious to me that her hair would be down. You know, because if she's, like, working, like, even if it's at night, you gotta go, like, you know, like, you gotta work, right? Like, you have to have your hair in the bun, right? And everything else is, like, clean. And, like, if she was just, like, she wouldn't be going up there to, like, refill water for herself. So there must have been a reason she was up there. I don't think it's no. No, I'm afraid not. This wasn't an accident. Good. What?
No.
Are you sure? Exactly. I mean, exactly. Girl at the bottom of the stairs, what? It must be an accident. I mean, what else could it be? Suicide. Strange way to do it, though.
Oh, George, don't be dim.
What? In the background, I see Celia cover her mouth with her hand.
Obviously, she's saying that there was someone else involved. Am I correct?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Don't be absurd. Someone else? Why, I know every soul under this roof. Fine people, one and all. How dare you pull such a suggestion out of thin air, young lady? You should be ashamed. Ashamed. Uncle, I'm sure she is hysterical. Yes, you're quite right, James. Stop telling women that they're hysterical. We should see her up to her room. Give her a chance to calm down. All that time with the dead body, you know, does terrible things to the mind.
And it's like I can see the word female floating above that last sentence in capitals. I'm quite calm, thank you. And I'm not pulling anything out of thin air. I have evidence. I look through the evidence I've collected and select the most relevant pieces.
Okay. Call me out. I mean, there's blood on the stairs. This one? I hate to say it, but I don't see the issue here. Surely it's natural that there would be blood around the, wound. If there wasn't, she'd be alive. The problem isn't where the blood is. It's where the blood is not. If you all follow me. With varying degrees of willingness, they follow me back out to the stairs. I crouch down and point at Sophie's head. Do you see the blood trailing over her face? Yes, but I would prefer not to. Sorry, I can help you there. Now, do you see where the blood ends? Of course, it drips onto the... We all look at the clean white floor. The only blood is directly under Sophie's head, on the other side. Oh. Ugh. Perhaps there wasn't much blood, and it just happened to stop there. Maybe, if that was the only thing I had to show you.
Probably the stairs stuff, because there's blood there. I'm sorry, I don't quite see what you're pointing out here. What do the stairs have to do with anything? The point is... That's a good point. Stevens, how are the guests moving from floor to floor right now? As you instructed, miss. I've directed them to use the, What? What? Spit it out, man. The servants' stairs, miss. Oh, that's right. I never saw Sophie, or any of the staff outside of their duties. Would I be correct in assuming that they were instructed to use the back stairs whenever possible? Well, but anyone could. We're not so unreasonable, I'd hope. She wouldn't dare. Quite right. None of the staff would ever use the main stairs themselves. Not if they valued their position here. That's a great point that I did not think about, and I'm glad it showed up in the options. Which I know that Sophie did. Mr. Haverly deflates. Oh, well, if you say so, dear, I'm sure you're right. Not to disagree with the majority, but you know, servants are people as well. We can't say that Sophie didn't do it just because she wasn't supposed to. Perhaps not always, but we can't prove she didn't do so in this case. Mr. Haywardly seems to have shrunk over the course of my findings. It's clear that the possibility of dismissing Sophie's death as an accident is vanishing into the distance. And now for the final piece of evidence. Girl, I'm gonna have to save right here. I don't know. A lot of it is just me guessing. Okay. Yeah, this is the big thing, because it's not the clean room, it's not the water on the floor. I don't care about that. I care about Sophie's hair being not in a bun. This entire time, I've never once seen Sophie's hair down before like this. The fact that it's down now obviously means something. It may mean the hairpins never stay in place like they are advertised to do. I have lost all mine on a windy day, much less falling down the stairs. Mr. Haverly runs his hand over his noticeably thinning hair. Oh yes, quite so. George. Sorry, love, just trying to light the mood. I suppose they're right. No, it wasn't that. I mean, I guess it's whatever, the clean room. As you may or not notice, this is the cleanest floor in England. Ugh. Thank you, miss. Is it? I thought it looked quite normal. James? Yes, quite normal. Where have you been living, my dear? Right. Rich people. What I'm saying is that someone has obviously cleaned up down here. Yes, miss. I obstinately ignore him. Cleaned up so thoroughly that not a speck of dust remains. Yes, miss. Which obviously means that someone was covering up a crime. No, miss. Egad. Egad. If looks could kill, we need a second detective on tap. Really? I don't know. I don't know. I really thought that was it. Okay. The last piece of evidence I saw this morning when Fia discovered the body. No, not Fia. She's lovely. Well, at least it's not a member of the family, eh? I'd better move this along before they have Fia in handcuffs. To be clear, this evidence does not incriminate Fia. At least, not any more than it does the rest of us. By us, do you mean? Why don't I just show you the stain? They looked at the floor and then glanced at each other. I don't think I see a stain. I should say not. That's because it's not here. Follow me, please. I lead them up the stairs to the guest wing. The corridor is empty, though I can hear Adrian talking to his sister softly inside her room. I point to the dark stain next to the fallen coffee cup, lying just at the end of the green rug near the railing that overlooks the stairs. That stain. Stevens! Terribly sorry, mistress. I don't know how he missed that. Don't concern yourself, Stevens. You missed it because it wasn't there. Not until last night. As you can see, there's a cup on the floor nearby, and the whole thing smells strongly of coffee. When I first saw it this morning, I had assumed that Fia had spilled it in shock when discovering Sophie's body. God, this has been a day. I would kill for a cup of coffee right now. Poor choice of words, James. Ah,
Sorry.
In any case, it didn't raise any suspicions until I realized nobody would have asked for coffee so late at night. And obviously Sophie wasn't delivering anything this morning.
Oh.
As already established by Stevens, there's no chance that it was here the previous day.
None at all, miss. I inspected this hallway myself, and I'll stake my position on it.
I moved to kneel by the stain. So no, this isn't coffee. Or at least, not only coffee. Carefully, I pull up the edge of the rug. I can feel everyone's eyes on me. Beyond the dark area covered by coffee, a spreading dark red stain is revealed.
Oh my goodness, it's where she was... My word!
And there it is. Blood. I would imagine the person who did this wanted to make it less obvious, but that they didn't have either the time or the tools they needed to completely remove the stain. So they settled for pouring coffee over the stain.
To hide it. How's that work? Like, I'm very curious about that. Like, would it actually be enough to cover the blood?
Ah. She turns away, hiding in her face in James's chest.
Steady on there, Celia. It's all right.
It's not. Don't you see what this means? That poor girl. I'm going back to the dining room.
Too much for her, I think.
Yes. Catching my gaze, Mr. Haverly gives me a wan smile.
Gone after her, you see. My Janet can never leave someone alone when they're upset.
Very kind of her.
So this settles it then?
Yes. Someone moved the body.
I can't believe it. Really, I can't. Murder. Here. It seems so unbelievable. But it has happened, so I suppose it must be. I know how you feel, Uncle. Who's this? Fia? No.
Murder? Did you say murder? Well, ain't that the truth, honey? And I know exactly who did it, too. I bet we all do, right?
Fia, are you alright? Now, hold on. No need to jump to conclusions.
Fia snorts loudly. Of course you tried that. She turns her scathing gaze to me. Well, what are you waiting for? Put the cuffs on him.
Who is she talking about? She's talking about Crispian. Oh my god. My eyes move back and forth between the two men next to me. Fia rolls her own eyes so far back it's a wonder they don't fall out.
Not them, honey. Go put them on that no-good fiancé of mine.
She turns so... I mean, understandably, I don't like Crispian. This is interesting. How this is kind of played out. In comparison to Blake's route, where Crispian's the one who's... So there's a little less tension in that sense between him and Fia because he's not in the picture anymore. And the demo is done. Great. Well, as you can see, I'm a really bad detective, but glad we could get through that, and the demo was very forgiving. I'm very intrigued about what will happen, and I'm not really sure who would have killed him, because it could really be anyone, because I could totally see Adrian doing it, because again, his sister is engaged to Crispian, and maybe he's like, I don't like him, and she just needs to get out of it. What do? Frame him for murder. But that's also like, maybe it's less so Adrian, because like, why wouldn't he just kill, you know, Crispian outright rather than go through Sophie rather. And then the valet, I mean, I don't know, I didn't really see any like relationship with like the valet and Sophie, so Nick and Sophie, so I would think it's less likely that that would have happened, unless again it's like like something to do to frame Crispian for whatever reason, but less so. And then James I could maybe see a little bit more directly, but again, I'm counting the fact that like it's too cruel to kill someone else just to frame another person. But if you kill someone, or even thinking about it, then you definitely could have the capacity to also just kill someone else to frame them, whatever. And then who's my last? Blake. Blake is the one that's like least likely, I feel, in my mind, to have murdered. Because he's so detached from everything, because he's the lawyer's clerk, but I don't know. There's no set motive in terms of the story we've seen so far. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed watching me play a romantic murder. I will definitely be checking out this visual novel once it is fully released. Please let me know what you think in the comments. If you haven't liked the video already, please like it. If you want to see more visual novel Let's Plays from me, then please subscribe. And I'll be coming out with more content soon. I generally post Monday through Fridays. But yeah, I really also like the art and the story and like the music kind of get. And how we get the animations with like the blinking and movement of the character sprites on screen. That's really nice. Overall, really fun, very fantastic demo. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye!